Hello guys and welcome back to this AOR F3 league. I'm Fisi and as you can see we are in Canada for this race. The 7th race of the season overall and my 4th in this particular wheel only league. The sun is out here for qualifying on a track which is not among my favorites to drive on these games. Obviously it is one of those tracks that can be corner cut quite a lot, but hopefully that will not be an issue with the drivers in this league, and I will be doing my best to avoid that as well, of course, as we are in qualifying right at the end of the session actually, and we have had far from a great session so far, just hadn't managed to get a lap in. As you can see on this lap we've already missed the apex on turn 1 and then slightly getting distracted by a disappearing Sauber out of turn 2 as well. But this is the final lap I'm going to get in this session, and I'm only P8 at the moment out of 14 runners, and considering I already messed up turn 1 a little bit, it looks like this race might end up being a bit of a struggle for me. At least in the first sector I've improved on my personal best lap in this session by 2 tenths, but I'm already 2.5 tenths down on pole position, who is currently held by Bigsy, who has just retired from the session as well, clearly happy with his time that he's got. As we're shooting through turn 8 and 9 now, just about avoiding the corner cut there in the first apex, running a little bit too wide for my liking on the exit, but managing to straighten it up just about, and still 2 tenths up on my best, so we haven't really gained anything in that middle sector compared to our own PB, but we've lost out quite massively on the pole lap, so it's not looking too great at the moment, and we've actually been dropped to P9 at the moment because someone's set a better lap. But while we're going down this long straight, I just want to quickly apologize for the long time it's taken since the previous F3 video. Quite a few weeks since I uploaded the Monaco race, and that's just because I've been quite busy with various things really. Kinda still am, but just finally felt like I needed to get something out there and continue these videos. But as you can see, we finished the lap now, and it was far from a big improvement, but it was enough to lift us 2 positions at least on the starting grid, up to P7, but as much as 9 tenths of a second behind the pole sitter Bigsy. Then again though, only 4 tenths behind P2 actually, so Bigsy clearly in a class of his own here, and I'm only a 10th of 4th as well, so it's very close here in qualifying, but not really the position I would have hoped for coming off the back of the amazing win in Monaco. But it's all about the race now, so I just gotta get my head down for that and see what I can do. Oh no, it's wet again. We just can't seem to escape the wetness in this league, and just like Monaco, this race starts off with a full wet track, which I must say does not make me any more confident. Obviously I struggled here already in the dry, and the wet is certainly not going to make things any easier, especially going down into turn 1. There could be a bit of chaos coming up as the 5 lights are on. And they're out for this Canadian Grand Prix, getting off the line reasonably well by the looks of it, but not making any ground on people. Having actually been put under pressure from the Ferrari coming down the inside already. Moon braking quite a lot later on us, getting a little tap from behind that has been cars running wide ahead. Now we're having to take to the outside line through turn 2 just to avoid people. And there's the Turtle and Blue Inquisitors who has been having to tangle as well. So we're going to try and capitalize on that, and we're actually up to P5, following Rookie P through there and defending now from Blue into the chicane. A little bit slided through there, but we're holding on to it. And after it looked like we were actually going to lose the position into turn 1, we're now actually gained 2 since our starting position, with those little nudges people have been having with each other. So that's it's been a good start, I have to say. And now Wikipedia has gone completely messed up on that corner, and then he kind of struggled to control it, almost blocked us off completely, and now he's put us under pressure from Blue Inquisitor on our outside here, coming towards turn 8, and Blue is actually ahead already, so we're just gonna have to back out and give him that. Got our teammate Discus Stew just behind as well, putting on the pressure, and now Blue and myself are both gone sideways out of turn 9, but I've got a better exit actually, and now I'm looking to the inside into the hairpin, looking to outbrake Blue now into the apex. Can we get it slowed down? We've gone very deep, just about getting it turned enough to not hit the wall, and we're actually taking that position, so back up to P5 despite that little messy middle part of the lap there. But already looking at the minimap, the top 4 have kind of spread out a little bit. I think you've got Bigsy in the lead ahead of Pro Racing, and then there's a little gap down to Moon, and then another gap down to Vuki Pete, and then I'm not too far behind him, so we just got to see now whether we can close that gap and challenge Pete for 4th. But at the moment I'm not really feeling confident enough in the conditions to push really hard. It really is a massive struggle in the heavy rain with the wheel in this game. Gotta be really careful out of slow corners especially, as we're now very close to Pete into the hairpin. Oh, there's a car coming off the inside as well. There's Craggles in the Sauber. I did feel a very slight contact from him going into the hairpin there, but nothing that really affected my line, as I was kind of running wide to avoid Pete anyway. but Kraggles has just nailed that traction zone and is now ahead, coming towards the final chicane, defending that inside line, or maybe just want to stay out of Pete's spray. Now pulling to the outside though, and we're all bunching up a little bit, coming into the chicane here, looking to get a good exit so I can maybe challenge him back. But he's just pulling away a little bit in the traction zone, and it really doesn't help to have his spray in my face coming into turn 1. So I'm going to have to settle behind him here and let Kraggles challenge Pete instead for now. Fisi has set a very impressive fastest lap. That was 3 seconds faster than the lap I did here. Obviously I was battling a bit with these guys, but now actually, Kraggles is having a look up the inside of Pete into the chicane, and they've had a slight contact by the looks of it. Pete had to cut a corner, Kraggles backed out of it though, which has held both of them up a bit, and now there's just spray everywhere, and a bit of a slide coming into turn 6 with my teammate just behind still. And I gotta say, Kraggles is looking incredibly fast at the moment, although out of that corner he got back down a bit trying to get past Pete. So maybe I can have a go at him now. He's gonna have to go defensive again, and he does into turn 8, and he should have just enough of an edge on me here to get that move done for now. But let's see if we can get a better exit though onto this run down to the hairpin. But no, we haven't really managed to get as much of a cutback as I wanted there. And again, Kraggles just looking really fast and competitive in those traction zones. And again, getting really close to Pete. Kraggles trying to go around the outside now of the hairpin, but Pete defends well, really well in fact, and he hangs on still. And this is going to be another really slow lap with all this battling and looking at these guys go at it. You can just see on the minimap how much of a gap the top 3 have. They're just literally gone into the next race of the season already. Fisi out in front is essentially sitting on the grid in Austria at the moment, just waiting for the rest of us to come over. But still an extremely close train though, from 4th, Rookie Pete, down to basically everyone, as Kraggles has now got a great exit out of the chicane, and it just breezed past Wookie Pete. As Pro Racing set the fastest lap now, about 5,000 seconds quicker than my lap, at least that's how it felt like when I compared those to the times. But Kraggles has finally got that move done, and now if I can't get past Pete quick enough here, he might just pull away, because it is a bit of a P train at the moment, and Kraggles has been looking feisty and very, very competitive in the laps I've been behind him. And you can see now, skipping on to lap 4, Kraggles has started pulling out a little bit of a gap as Pete makes a mistake at the hairpin going very deep, but that will give him a good exit onto the straight though. Getting a little bit close to his rear tire there, don't want to touch that, because with this game's physics that could just spin you 720 degrees around without you being able to control it. And again now, we just start trying to stay out of his spray so I can actually see where I'm going. You can see when he shifts to the outside line, I shift back to the inside, trying to brake late, but obviously that's not really a place where you can overtake unless you're properly alongside going into the corner. So we are still sitting down here in P6, and a little bit onto lap 5 now. I made a mistake. That was not what I wanted, making a mistake in the first chicane, having to completely cut the corner, losing time, and now my teammate is all over the back of me. Will he try to overtake? Will he do a bit of dive bomb? No, he will be a nice teammate and stick behind me for now, as we skip on to lap 7. We will try to avoid looking at Bigsy's lap times, because that is quite frankly a little bit depressing, considering what we are doing at the moment. Still stuck behind a Wookie Pete, but you know, I'm not really that much. I feel like I'm faster than Wookie Pete, but not really that much faster. And you can see 3 further laps on, I'm still behind him. So I really just don't have the pace to get a clear run on Wookie at the moment. And now it's actually Blue Inquisitor who is back up to 7th just behind me, and he's quite fast as well, looking to put the pressure on. And just looking at the minimap at the moment, Kraggles is gone, so it looks like it's going to be a race-long battle for 5th, the way this is going. And it's getting a little bit frustrating sitting behind Pete, but now though we got a good exit out of the chicane. Finally, Pete tries to defend, but he's left just about enough room on the inside here, as we got the inside line coming towards turn 1. Pete though a little bit braver on the brakes, as he's gone round the outside, and he's now got the inside for turn 2, and just parked it on the apex, completely blocking me from doing the cutback, and instead I ran into the rear tire of his car. So really good defensive driving from Pete, but just really frustrated with myself to not able to exploit that situation better. And we actually let Joker slip past as well. He's just come out of nowhere, so it's really, really annoying. Down to P7 with Joker, now another obstacle just ahead of us. But on lap 14 though, Joker has run wide at the hairpin, and I kind of lost grip mid-corner there, but somehow it kind of just got it straightened up and got a decent exit, but obviously not as good as Joker's, because he had a better line. And now we're just getting another nice shower of spray coming down the straight. And another little skip then onto lap 15. And the situation is pretty much the same, but Pete up there in 5th has had a slide coming out of that corner, and now Joker is looking to put the pressure on, but Joker chose the wrong side and got blocked off, which allowed me to sneak through on the outside into turn 6, desperately trying to get a car turned in. Joker luckily leaving me enough room. Coming on this straight, can we get a power down? It's very tricky, especially with the blue pressuring us from just behind as well. But it looks like we're going to have the inside line now coming into turn 8. Just got to spot the braking point and hit the apex, and we've done it. Joker has had to yield, but we can't quite relax just yet. You can see I'm struggling a bit in the traction zone still, and Joker is still very close, so I might have to go defensive here into the hairpin. And I am choosing to take a bit of a defensive line, just covering the inside to make sure Joker has no way past. Looks like it's trying to take a wider entry to get a better exit, but he hasn't quite pulled it off. So we got P6 again now, but again, it's that P5. Wookie Pete still hanging on up there. That is the position I want, because that is, let's be honest, the best position I can realistically get as it stands, with the top 4 being absolutely gone, as Wookie Pete has actually gone into the pits, which is interesting. Joker looks to have followed him, and Blue Inquisitor as well, as we had a massive slide out of the chicane. But wow, it looks like pretty much everyone else has gone into the pits, everyone who were around us anyway. So that is quite interesting. I mean, these tires surely won't take us to the end of the race, but it might give us an opportunity to maybe jump Pete if we have a good in-lap here, and we are indeed going to go in now on the next lap. And like I said, there's a chance that I could jump Pete here, but there's also a chance that I could lose some positions if they have been going strong on their fresh tires. And you can see that queue of cars coming down the main straight on the minimap there. That is the queue that I really want to be ahead of when I emerge back onto the track. So let's hope there is no problem in the pit stop here. It looks pretty reasonable. Another set of heavy wet tires on the car and a normal 3.7 pit stop. And you can see the spray there. The other cars are entering turn 1 already. And this is going to be really tight. We're behind that Toro Rosso. But can we get ahead of the rest of the guys? We can. And that's DC Magic actually. Where is Pete and the rest of them? It looks like we jumped Pete and gained on the other guys that were behind me. But suddenly DC Magic has jumped ahead. And F1 Turtle in the Williams is now the car behind. And I actually think they pitted a few laps earlier on in the race, which means they will have been going a bit longer on new tires, which is probably why they've managed to make up some ground. Whereas I must have had a good in-lap because I obviously jumped Pete, and now we have to contend with DC Magic for that 5th place instead. Whether that is better or worse, I am not quite sure, as we had a little bit of a tap there going into the hairpin from Turtle behind. Nothing major though. We're gonna be able to get out of that corner reasonably well, but Turtle getting a bit feisty as well. And you can see now on lap 20 that the gap to the train behind has increased a bit. There seems to be a gap now from Turtle and down to 8th place. I can only assume that is Wookie Pete actually holding up with the other guys. But now we're having a go at DC Magic into the hairpin on the inside line, getting it slowed down for the apex. DC trying to hold it around the outside, Turtle following closely as well. Can we get on the power well enough to pass DC here? It looks like DC has the upper hand out of the corner, but we are going to grab some slipstream in the spray and see if we can pull ahead of him on the straight line speed. And we can. We've gone back alongside him, coming towards the chicane now, and we clearly have better straight line speed at the moment. And the inside line for the chicane, gotta make this stick, hitting the apexes through the chicane and without any problems taking that position. Still gotta be wary of DC though. He might want to try something into the first corner here. And I think actually F1 Turtle has gone into the pits, so that must have been his 2nd pit stop in the race, which is quite interesting and has suddenly eased off the pressure from behind a little bit. But now we just gotta focus on staying ahead of DC Magic and not making any mistakes, as we have just under 15 laps remaining in this race, with still a lot of cars in contention for this 5th place that I am currently inhabiting. And now at the end of the lap, DC Magic has indeed gone into the pits behind me, so doing like Turtle and going in for a 2nd stop in the race. So clearly they have chosen a different strategy compared to me and the likes of Joker and the guys who were around me before. Because we are definitely not going to have to pit again. Just looking at the tire indicator there, they are not very worn, so should be able to make the distance. And we now got to 1.9 seconds down to Joker behind as we skip onto the start of lap 29 now. And we've actually managed to close that gap to Moon a little bit. It was 34 something seconds 7 laps ago. Now it's 31.6, but obviously he's way too far ahead for us to have any chance of catching him, as we did not have a great turns 1 and 2 there. Joker's indication arrows suddenly just popped up behind us, so he's getting close and becoming a bit of a threat again. And I really just never feel safe in these conditions anyway, because it's so easy to make a mistake. As we actually made a mistake now, going through the chicane. Almost lost the back end and got very close to the wall of champions there, but luckily managed to save it from actually hitting it. and that was not the greatest lap we just had, but we managed to hold on, and now escaping on to the penultimate lap of the race, lap 34 out of 35, still with Joker and a couple of other cars just behind us. But I know at this point of the race, the leaders, Big Z and Pro Racing, are coming around to lap people. If you look at the minimap, they are not far behind in that, they're somewhere in that train behind us. So at this stage, I'm just driving to avoid being lapped, really. I really want to finish this race on the lead lap, because that looks a lot better in the results. And as we are coming towards the end of this lap, it looks like we are going to make that happen. No blue flags yet, and it looks like Joker will be fine behind as well. But I think everyone behind Joker has actually been lapped. So you can see Big Z has now finished the race, so he was not far off. And now it's a shootout between me and Joker for the 5th place in this race. He's still 1.3 seconds behind, but he did not manage to get close enough to put on the pressure throughout this lap. But he's getting a little bit close though at the end of this straight now. So it's absolutely crucial that we nail this chicane and do not make another mistake going through here. And we have taken this nice and cautiously up to rich fuel mix just for good measure, coming towards the finish line. Joker has already started weaving, which means that we are going to finish 5th in this Canadian Grand Prix after a really tough race. Heavy wet conditions from the start to the finish, and in the end it is Big Z winning the race by a huge margin. I actually thought the Pro Racing was a lot closer than that, but Big Z clearly in a class of his own around here. And then you got the secondary class of their own with the Pro Racing, Kraggles and Moon from 2nd down to 4th, and then you got the rest of us from 5th and down, splashing around in the rain like Magikarps, not really knowing what we're doing. So I think we can be reasonably happy with 5th really, because we just didn't have the pace today to match the top 4, and we got that 5th place, which was realistically the best we could do given how it turned out, and considering this is a track I don't have to do well at anyway, so I'll take it. The rest of the point finishers, of course, the Joker just behind me, Blue Inquisitor. My teammate finished 8th with a few points for the team as well. DC Magic got 9th, and Stubborn Gymnast got 1 point in 10th. And then Wookie Pete, who was ahead of us for quite a while, he actually DNF'd in the end, so that's a shame for him. Something clearly must have happened after he got out of our way. As for the Drivers' Championship, Pro Racing still up front, so with a 13-point margin down to Joker in 2nd, and Kraggles actually, the 2 Sauber teammates there, joined in 2nd place. My teammate Discus Stew has been shoved down to 4th, with Moon in 5th, and Big Z moving up to 6th with that win, whereas we are still in 7th place. Big Z has passed us, but we have also managed to pass Blue Inquisitor, so I've gained 1 place and lost 1 place at the same time, and we're still in that massive midfield scrap that are very, very close together on points, so everything still to play for in the championship. And as for the constructors, Sauber do still have a nice lead at the top with a 21-point margin, ahead of Williams, and our Caterham team still in 3rd. Toro Rosso getting a bit closer though thanks to Big Z. They've jumped ahead of Force India, but hopefully we can keep them at bay going forward. And yeah, that is it for the standings after round 7. Again, apologies for the long wait for this video. I will hope to get the next one out in a much shorter space of time and get cracking on with the rest of the season as well. But for now, I hope you enjoyed this video with me splashing around in the rain, trying my best to not cut corners. Feel free to leave a like on the video if you did enjoy it, and if you have any comments or any questions to ask me, then feel free to leave them below as well. And with that, I will go back to the garage and rest up for the next race in Austria, which is a lovely, lovely track, and one that should suit me better than this one did. So hopefully we can have a good race there, and I will see you next time. Goodbye.